Most guys absolutely misunderstand how attraction works. They watch content online, they think that it's about like being tall, being muscular, having money, having good facial genetics like yours truly. But attraction is a bit more complicated than that. And at the same time, it's pretty simple. And once you understand how it truly works, once you understand that attraction is more so predicted by the behavior that you exhibit, and more importantly, the psychological effect of said behavior on the woman in question, everything unlocks. Everything becomes easier. You start getting women almost on autopilot. You become good at both getting attention and attraction and then keeping it over the long term. The problem is you have an awareness gap. You just don't understand how it works. So to help solve that problem, I created a system. The system is called the 3 S's of attraction. Now, the 3 S's of attraction are spark, safety, and situational awareness. I'm gonna say that again. Spark, safety, and situational awareness. Basically, spark is anything that creates an effect on women where they feel emotionally spiked. It makes them desire you. It makes them crave you, right? Some examples of spark are being charismatic, being funny, dressing well, smelling good, looking good, right? Being tall kind of gives off a spark element. Being popular gives off a spark element, right? Now, the important thing to internalize is you don't have to have all these traits, right? The way this works is you cultivate a few of the spark traits and then you let that do the majority of the heavy lifting for you. Because when you create spark, when you start to learn the behaviors that give spark to the woman in question, you will be able to easily create that initial attraction. Now, the problem with spark is that it is short-lived, meaning it's not something you can depend on. If you're funny, yes, that will create attraction, but it's certainly not going to sustain attraction over time. If you look good, yes, that will create attraction, but no matter how good you look, once somebody spends a certain amount of time with you, the looks won't mean much of anything, right? Same thing for charisma. All these things have a short lifespan. And if you don't follow spark up with safety, you'll find that you'll start losing women over time, because that's the problem with a lot of guys when it comes to this system. They tend to be top heavy with one or the other. Guys who give a lot of spark tend to be the fuck boys, meaning they can attract a lot of women. It becomes a revolving door with women. But because they don't have one of the other S's of attraction, they tend to lose those women eventually, whether it's a month down the road, 2 months down the road, even a year down the road. The women always leave because giving spark is a short-term solution. But when you bridge it with the next S of attraction, you start to experience more of that longevity. There's a more stickiness factor. And the next S of attraction is safety. Safety is anything that makes a woman feel safe, comfortable, and cared for, right? So traits that give off safety are things like emotional attunement, emotional intelligence, being grounded, being a leader. Even money falls into the safety category. A lot of people think that money creates attraction. It does not. Money creates convenience. Money creates a situation where women can relax because they know bills are taken care of, right? That's a safety element. Safety is needed because it's what makes women relax into your presence. It's what makes them feel connected to you. And it's what makes them open up to you a bit more so that you can create more emotional intimacy with them. It creates that stickiness factor, like I said. It's the key to make relationships last over the long term. Now, there is a downside with safety because guys who lean towards the safety side of the spectrum tend to have us trouble with getting women initially. They don't really get many women. They're not really attracted to most women. And the women who they do get, because spark is missing, the relationships tend not to be very passionate. A lot of these guys suffer from a dead bedroom, or worse, they're put into the nice guy category because guys who check this box usually focus on it a bit too much. There's nothing to make the woman feel excited. When you hear women talk about they got bored in their relationship, they're typically talking about a guy who gave too much safety. So the secret is to bridge both of these qualities. It is to give off spark and it is to give off safety. Not in equal doses, but to be able to read the situation to know which one of these traits is the solution for whatever situation you may be in. And that's where the next S of attraction comes in, which is situational awareness. Situational awareness means you can accurately read the situation. You can accurately read the woman's signals. You know when to push forward, you know when to pull back, you know when to give spark, you know when to give safety, right? You have to be aware of what's going on to know which tool to pull out of your tool belt. And you'll only be able to pull those tools out of your tool belt if you have the tools to begin with. That's why it's incredibly important to cultivate the ability to give spark and safety in the first place. Now, it's rare for guys to have all three of these S's of attraction. It's an extremely rare phenomenon. They either give off spark, they give off safety, or if they have the awareness to kind of give off both, they don't know when to give off one or the other, right? But if you can be the guy who has mastered the three S's of attraction, not even master, if you can just get mildly competent at giving off the three S's of attraction, your dating and relationship experience will transform. You will easily stand out from the sea of guys out there because 99% of guys do not understand this. Even guys who are into game, they don't understand this. A lot of guys who are in the game just give off spark because they optimize their approach to just quickly sleep with the woman. But most of those guys cannot sustain a relationship. Most of those guys, if they enter a relationship, they end up getting cheated on. Over time, their mask drops and the real them comes out. And the real them is typically a guy who naturally wants to give a lot of safety. But once you really have all three of these sides of attraction operating at the same time, almost all of your women problems are solved. The problem is this is difficult to pull off, right? A lot of guys don't really know how to cover their blind spot. They don't know how to rectify their weaknesses. You know, I've coached many guys. I make a lot of content on, platforms like TikTok. I hear guys talk about their issues a lot. And 99% of the time, they are talking about an issue that relates to the three S's of attraction. Either they don't know how to read the situation, they don't know how to give spark, or they don't know how to give safety. So I decided to create a system that will allow you to get good at all three of these simultaneously. So if spark is a weakness, you'll learn that. If safety is a weakness, you'll learn that. If situational awareness is a weakness, you'll learn that. And I call this course the Retainment Blueprint. In the Retainment Blueprint, you won't have 100 different tactics to learn or 200 videos to watch. I isolate the most important things you need to know so you can quickly and easily start becoming 10 times more attractive, 10 times more desirable. Guys who have implemented this system have gone from not being able to get a date at all to being able to lock down 4 dates in a week. It works. And it works because it truly captures what women really respond to. And for a limited time, all purchasers will have access to me via my Telegram group so that I can coach you personally. That means results are guaranteed. That means if anything in the modules don't make sense, you can ask me the question. If you're going on a date, you can ask me a question. If something doesn't go right, you can send me a screenshot of the text messages and I can tell you where to go wrong and then what to do right next time. This is the easiest path for you to finally get the dating results you're looking for. So, if you're tired of spinning your wheels, if you're tired of watching years go by without you ever getting any kind of results with women, the Retainment Blueprint is the answer. If you want to grab your copy, I'll put a link in the description. Go ahead and click that, make your purchase, and I'll see you on the other side.